Good evening, good evening, good evening, my brothers and sisters. How you doing? This is a new week. Welcome to the dinner table. I'm glad to meet with you the first day of this brand new week that the Lord has made. Come on in, come on in. We have some good soul food tonight, my brothers and sisters, something that you can really stick your teeth into. I'm sure you're going to enjoy this particular meal that we have on the menu tonight. So come on in, brothers. Come on in, sisters. The table is set. All I need for you to do is come sit down and get ready to enjoy this good soul food tonight. If this is your first time at the dinner table, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Tony M. Toomer, and I speak on relationship matters. When I talk about relationships, my position, my brother and sister, I need to be clear. I believe in a relationship as the, shown or pattern in the book of Genesis. I believe strongly that the man Adam, he had a unique relationship with the woman Eve first. Secondly, I believe that the woman Eve had a unique relationship with God. Thirdly, I strongly believe that God brought the woman to the man, and I believe that's how it's done today. God have a lot to do with it because when it comes to a relationship is composed of a man, God, and the woman, or the woman, God, and the man. So that's what I strongly believe in. If you have another preference as far as the relationship go, God gave you a free will, my brother and sister. But I'm letting you know now, I basically talk about a relationship from a biblical perspective. I strongly believe in it. And so you brothers and sisters, I still would like for you to sit down and enjoy some of this good soul food. You can really get something out of it. And thank you, my brother and sister, for always being here. Thank you for your support. So we're about to get into tonight's topic on the menu, my brother, and on the menu, my sister. Before I get into that, I would like to let you all know I'm talking on two different platforms. I'm talking on the book, and I'm talking on the tube. How you doing, Sister Kirkpatrick? If I call out your name or say something, if you are on the book, those of you that on the tube, you may cannot see the person, and vice versa. Those of you that on the tube, if I make a reference to somebody on the book, you may not see it, but we're all family here. So my brother and sister, if you don't mind, you can go ahead and share, and you can make some comments along the way. And as far as comments, my brother and sister, I encourage you, if you want to make some comments throughout the show, you can make your comments. If someone make a comment during the show, I strongly encourage you to go ahead and talk to your sisters and brother that you see on here if you want to say something, as long as it's pertaining to what's on the menu for tonight. Okay, so tonight on the menu, we are going to talk about how you doing, Sister Flo Harvey Martin. Welcome to the dinner table. Are you predestined for a spouse? Again, are you predestined for a spouse? Now, my brother and sister, this is very interesting, and I hope that you all give me an ear tonight and listen to the key word predestined. Now, predestined, my brother and sister, when it comes to being in a serious, committed, and covenant relationship, do you really believe you have a free will to randomly decide whom you're going to get married to? Or do you think that you're predestined to get married to someone? And that's why we're discussing tonight's topic. Are you predestined for a spouse? How you doing, Sister Cheryl Ferguson? Welcome to the dinner table tonight. And how you doing, Facebook user? I don't see your name, but welcome to the dinner table. Now, I'm going to define basically four words that's going to apply to what we're going to talk about at the dinner table. The first key word, my brother and sister, is the word predestined. When I looked in the dictionary, I see where predestined is defined as an outcome of course of events determined in advance by a divine will or fate to foreordained to an earthly or eternal lot or destiny by divine degree or decree. Now, there's another word we're going to talk about, and I talk about this a lot too. The word, hey, Sister Angela Bronner, how you doing? The word chosen. And I like to use the word chosen, my brother and sister, because from the position where I come from, when it comes to matter of God, God chooses men and women to do certain things. So we're going to look at what the word chosen means. The word chosen, my brother and sister, is defined as one who is the object of choice of divine favor and elect person. That's what divine. Now, here's another key component. It's called free will. And remember, I said, basically, do you believe that you have a free will to randomly decide what person you're going to marry to, or do you think you're predestined? So the terminology of free will, my brother and sister, is defined as the power of acting without the constraints of necessity of fate, the ability to act on one's own discretion. And providence, this is where God come in at, providence. As we know, providence, my brother and sister, it is defined as the care and control of God or of a force that is not human or in origin. So the key word we'll talk about predestined. We'll talk about chosen, which are you, my brother, or you, my sister. We'll talk about the free will. You have a free will, brother. I have a free will. You have a free will, sister. We'll talk about providence. Providence is whereas God is control everything. Now, do you, my brother, or do you, my sister, do you believe God will carry out his will over our per se free will? Do you really think, my brother and sister, that God controls everything? And do you believe that his providence, it overrides our free will? Do you believe that you have a complete free will, my brother and sister? I'm going to tell you this, my brother and sister, before I really get into it. I have a free will and you have a free will, but my brother and sister, you need to listen to what I'm saying. You have a free will, but you have a limited free will. Everyone think, when you hear free will, a lot of people think that you could do whatever you want to do. You cannot do what you want to do. You have limitations when it comes to God. God will let you go so far, my brother and sister, because I believe strongly that God, he controls everything. And I hope that you all see my point where God controls everything, because that's what I strongly believe. Now, there are some points that I'm about to make on tonight's topic. Are you predestined to get married? Now, my brothers and sisters, it is very imperative that you keep in mind and remember as I expound on this particular topic at the dinner table tonight. We're going to look at Jeremiah. Now, remember, we're talking about the word predestined right now, and we'll talk about providence, and we'll talk about free will. Now, when we look at Jeremiah, my brother, sister, it's in God's word, and I'm about to read it, okay? In Jeremiah 1:5, it said, before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee. And before you came forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee. And I ordained thee a prophet unto the nation. Also, it is written, my brothers and sisters, in Ephesians 1:4. Again, that's Ephesians 1:4, Ephesians 1:4. He chose us in him. Now, who chose us? It's none other than Jesus. That's who I'm referring to. He chose us before the creation of the world to be holy and to be blameless in his sight. Now, my brother and sister, Jesus, he chose us. We did not choose him. He chose us. So why did the Lord choose us? Let me tell you something, my brother and sister. The Lord, if he chose you, there's a reason why he chose you. There's a reason. Now, predestined, my brother and sister, he predestinated you because he knew that you would do what you will with your free will. Now, when the Lord predestined you, my brother and sister, he already knew in eternity past what you was going to do. So what you're going to do is not no surprise to God. What I did or what I'm doing is not no surprise to God. We are predestined. And God used our free will. Well, his will going to override us anyway, but he utilized our free will to carry out his will. Now, he didn't make us robots, my brother and sister. God did not make us robots. Do you actually think that you got saved on your own, my brother and sister? What I'm doing right now, I'm giving you the appetizer before we get to the meat of the topic. Do you really think that you got saved on your own? My brother and sister, you did not get saved on your own. The Lord had to open up your heart to get saved. He really did. But you see, the Lord knew you like he knew me. Number two, God has a purpose for your life, my brother, and he have a purpose for my life, according to his will, not our will. As it is written in Jeremiah 29:11, Jeremiah 29:11, Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans that I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, and to give you hope for a future. Now, a question again, do you believe, my brother, do you believe, my sister, that God would carry out his free will over our per se will? How you doing, my little sister? Welcome to the dinner table. Now, keep in mind, number one, God have a purpose for us. Before we meet anyone, he has a purpose. He knew us before we got here. And not only that, number two, his purpose, he got a free will and he got plans for us. Now, he got a free will for us. He got plans for us, something that we didn't even know about, but it was in his mind. Now, number three, I'm building, but we're still at the appetizer part of the show. As it is written in John 15:16, John 15:16, John 15:16. And Jesus said, you did not choose me. Jesus talking. He was talking to his disciple. And if you're a disciple of Christ, Jesus is talking to you too. We did not choose him. Jesus said himself, you did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you to do what you might do and to bear fruit. This before God calls you to find a woman, brother, or sister, for a man to find you. That's if God put that gift or desire in you to be in a serious, committed, and covenant relationship. And so that whatever you ask in my name, the Father will give to you. Again, the question, my brother and sister, do you believe that God would carry out his will over our per se free will? Matthew 22:14. Matthew 22:14. Matthew 22:14. For many are called, but few are chosen. I know you all have heard that before. Many are called, but few are chosen. What do I mean by that? The Lord died for all of us, my brothers and sisters. Now, we're condensing this down to the married couple that is serious, committed, and moving to, serious, committed, and moving towards a covenant relationship. Now, the God, my brother and sister, we're going to narrow this down. How you doing, Sister Teresa? Welcome to tonight's dinner table. We narrowed it down more and more during the appetizer part of the menu, okay? Now, many are called, but few are chosen. My brother and sister, it's no incident that you're looking at this broadcast tonight. It's not no incident that you per se just showed up here. It's no incident that you and I'm talking. It's no incident. This, my brother and sister, it was divine. God called something in you to sit at the dinner table tonight. God calls me to present you this meal tonight. So all of this, what I'm leading up to, when it comes to a relationship between a man and woman, or you predestined to have a spouse, we're moving along during the appetizer part, because believe me, I'm building up to something, okay, before the main course come out. How you doing, Sister Ingrid? Welcome to tonight's dinner table. Okay, many are called, but few are chosen. My brother and sister, if you believe in God's son, Jesus, God, through his son, Jesus, chose you before the foundation of the world. Now, my brother and sister, if you have a desire to be in a committed relationship, God put that gift in you, brother, and he put that gift in you, sister. You didn't just per se come into this world desiring a woman, brother. Sister, you didn't just per se come into this world design a man. It was all preordained, and you have been called. You have been called. And you know how you've been called? Because the Lord's Spirit lives in you. Now, if the Lord wants you to be with someone, it's going to manifest itself, okay? The question is, are you how should I say it? Are you determined? We're not predetermined. Are you predestined to be in a relationship with a man or a woman? Number 5, as it is written in 1 Peter 2:9, again, 1 Peter 2:9, 1 Peter 2:9, you are a chosen people. There go that word again. You are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession. My brother and sister, if you are one of the chosen one, you are a special possession, that you may declare the praise of him that called you out of darkness, that means out of the world, into his wonderful light. When you leave the world, you are transformed. You transferred into the Lord's kingdom. It is undeniable that God has chosen those of you who believe in Jesus. Again, here go the question again. Do you believe that God's will is carried out over your per se free will? What do you believe, my brother and sister? Do you believe that God, his will is carried out above your will? Number 6, at this point, my brother and sister, ask yourself this question. Here's another question that you need to ask yourself. Why are you chosen? How you doing, Sister Kendra Williams? Welcome to the dinner table. Ask yourself the question, why are you chosen? Do you know as of tonight why the Lord chose you? It was not no accident. And it's something special about you that led you to God for him to choose you. No, it's not nothing special about you, because he could have chose anyone. But you were not special. God chose you out, my brother, and he chose me out because of his love and mercy for his glory. Number 7, as it is written in Romans 9:15, Romans 9:15, Romans 9:15. And here go what is talk about predestined, okay? Predestined. God has control of everything, my brother and sister. It's even your relationship. He has control of your heart and my heart. Because when God was speaking to Moses, God talked to Moses. He said, I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy, and I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion. Romans 9:16. Romans 9:16. It does not therefore depend on human desire or effort, but on God's mercy. So it's not on us, my brother and sister. It doesn't depend on our desire, and it doesn't depend on our effort, but God's mercy. Romans 9:17 through 18. Romans 9:17 through 18. And this is what the scriptures say when it comes to God having providence over everything and God predestined things. Now we're going to look at when God created Pharaoh, and you are familiar with Pharaoh and his conflict with the Israelite. God, you see, a lot of people think that Pharaoh, he was willy-nilly, and he had free range of his free will, and he could do whatever he wanted to do. No, he wasn't. He had a limited free will, but God was doing something with Pharaoh, like he'll do something with you, brother, you, sister, and well as me. It say again in Romans chapter 9:17, 18. It said the scriptures say to Pharaoh, I raised up you for this very purpose, that I might display my power in you. I'm reading from the scripture, and that my name may be proclaimed in all the earth. Therefore, God have mercy on whom he will have mercy, and whom he hardened, he will harden. So what am I saying? God is having providence even over Pharaoh. You see, some people think that Pharaoh, he did not have enough sense to recognize all these plagues that God was putting over Egypt. But God, every time Pharaoh seemed like he was going to loosen up, God hardened his heart. So God already knew Pharaoh was going to harden his heart. He already knew it. But God made sure that his heart was hard. That's what I'm saying right now, my brother and sister. Pharaoh was created for a purpose. Believe it or not, he was created for a purpose. I was created for a purpose. You were created for a purpose, but we're about to get close to the relationship between a man and a woman. Also, it is written in Romans 9:21, 9:21, 9:21. Does not the potter, that being the Lord, does not the potter have the right to make out of the same lump of clay some pottery for special purpose and for some common use? See, God is the potter, my brother. God is the potter, my sister. What does the potter do? That person, he molds things together. So God, he molds you, brother, and he molds you, sister. Now we're about to get to the main meal. Likewise, my brother and sister, the Lord have chosen a mate before you were created. Before you was created, my brother and sister, and you have a desire for a man and a woman, God in his providence, he's seen down the centuries that he was going to give you a desire to be with the right person. You understand? To be with the right person. Now, these are the points. These are some couples, my brother and sister, that God had something to do with. Listen to these names. Number one, do you not believe, my brother and sister, God, he created Eve to be with Adam. Number two, God created Sarah to be with Abraham. Number three, God created Rebekah to be with Isaac. Number four, God created Rachel to be with Jacob. As we know, Jacob's name got transferred to Israel. Ruth was given to Boaz. She was predestined to be with Boaz. It didn't just happen. Joseph, where Mary was predestined to be with Joseph, Jesus' stepfather. And now this is where we come to you, brother, and this is where we come to you, sister. You and your mate. Now we're at the main meal tonight. We're at the main course. Are you at this time, my brother and sister, are you predestined to be with a mate? There are two factors. You have a free will and God's providence. Brother and sister, when you came into this world and you had a desire to be with a man and a woman and you're following God, God meant for you to have a desire for a man or a woman. He meant for you to do it. Why? Because some people, they are born to be unit or single. That means minus physical intimacy. But God placed you here, my brother and my sister, with a desire to be a member of the opposite sex, because God has a plan for you, brother, and you, sister, when he brings you together. Brother, when God calls you to find a woman, the right woman, he brings the woman to you. Sister, when God calls the man to find you, he calls that man to see you. It's bigger than you all just meeting. It's more bigger. It's God providence and God purpose. He predestined you, my brother, and he predestined you, sister, to be with someone. You were not randomly put together just to be kicking it. God has a purpose for you. So, brother, when you discover that you have a desire for a woman, what you were supposed to have done, you were supposed to pray to God when you discovered that desire, when you were trying to discover about yourself, who you are, why you here, and where you're going. You need to know who you are. And the only way you're going to know who you are, brother, you had to have a relationship with God through his son, Jesus Christ. Why you're here, you have to discover why God placed you here. You were predestined to come here. Whether your parents were married or not, you were predestined to come here because God gave life. The only thing your mother and father did, my brother and sister, they were just physical. But God directed the sperm to go towards the egg in your mother's womb. God knew you, brother, before you met this woman. God knew you in eternity. You was in God's mind to carry out a specific purpose for God with a woman in your life. Remember, the Bible clearly say that the man, that is not good for man to be alone. No matter what you hear worldly men say, or even worldly women, if that man and woman have desire to be with one another, God purposely wants you to be with a man or a woman. When you go back to Genesis, God specifically showed the role. God wanted a man and a woman to be together. God did not create two men at the beginning of creation. He did not create two women at the beginning of creation. He did not create one man and several women. He did not create one woman and several men. He strategically made it where a man and a woman supposed to have a goal in mind, and God put the goal and purpose in the man and woman's heart. Again, my brothers and sisters, do you believe that God will trump or be over your free will? Yes, it will, because Jesus is the Lord, my brother and sister, to the glory of God the Father. That's why, one reason why God put you in a relate where he got you created to be in a relationship with a man and a woman. And the thing is, my brother and sister, you have to go to God and ask God why. You're supposed to go to God and ask God. Your question to God is, what you go to God, my brother and sister, you go to God and say, you have to understand, you want to do God's will first. You want to understand yourself. Sister Teresa said, being a widow, I still want intimacy. So tired of being alone. Air Green, amen, sister. So, Sister Teresa, let me tell you this. If you have a desire for intimacy, and my brother and sister, let me tell you what intimacy means. Intimate doesn't only mean physical intimacy. You have mental, or you have emotional, and you have physical intimacy. So you have mental intimacy, you have emotional intimacy, and then you have physical intimacy. See, the world look at intimacy. The first thing the world think is physical intimacy. And when if you just thinking about the world, my brother and sister, physical intimacy, it doesn't last that long. You have to have something bigger than physical intimacy. It's not like when you look at TV and the movie and make it seem like the physical intimacy be going on hours and hours and hours, and you hear violin playing and all that kind of stuff. No, that's not it. You have to have something bigger than the physical intimacy, because when it comes to physical intimacy, you're not going to be laying down in your bed all throughout the day. God did not create you, brother, to desire a woman just to be in the bed with her all day. And likewise, sister, God did not create you just to be in the bed all day with a man. God have a purpose for you, brother, and you, sister. So when you discover who you are, and the only way you're going to find out who you are, not by what someone tell you other than God. You have to put aside time with God. And then you have to read his word. That's why you need the Lord's Spirit in you. That's right, sister, for you can't be in the bed 24/7. You, brother, and you, sister, you have to have a relationship with God first. And then if you discover that desire in you to be with a member of the opposite sex, that's when you have to talk to God about that. My brother and sister, do not ever, and I have said this several times, never try to force a relationship to work. Don't go looking for a woman, brother. Sister, don't go looking for a man. There's nowhere in the Bible just your only purpose just to go looking for someone. Now, you have to put some leg work in. You got to be doing something. You can't just be sitting around looking at TV and think it's gonna happen that way. No, you have to do something active in your life, my brother and sister, so God could work through you to make this happen. When it comes to predestined, let me give you an example, my brother and sister. Let me give you an example of being predestined. Listen to me carefully. You are familiar with Abraham and Sarah, right? You're familiar with Abraham and Sarah. God promised Abraham and Sarah that they was going to have a son. That was God's will. So the Flo said, don't go look for a man. So yeah, that's right. That was God's will. And it took a while for Abraham and Sarah to have a son, because God promised them that they was going to have a son. Now listen to it. Before Abraham and Sarah were created, they was in God's mind, but God already knew what he was going to do through Sarah and Abraham, or Abraham and Sarah, before they was born. So God predestined Isaac to come through the loins of Abraham and his mother Sarah. Isaac was predestined. But Abraham and Sarah, they were not patient. They called themselves trying to help God. This is where Abraham and Sarah tried to use they used their own free will. And when they had their own free will, Sarah talked Abraham into going bringing up a son or a child with Hagar. That was not part of God's plan. You understand? That was not part of God's plan. Hagar's son was not the promised child. Isaac was the promised child. So you see what I'm talking about free will and predestined? You see, Abraham and Sarah, they tried to do it their way. And we know they messed up when they did it their way, even though they did still have Isaac. When Abraham impregnated Hagar, he created problems for himself. And the problems are affected today. When you hear about a lot of things over in the Middle East, you know about the Israelites, right? The Israelites came down through the loins of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Jacob known as Israel. But he still had that son by Hagar. So the reason why they fighting over that land over in the Middle East, to tell you the truth, Abraham is the father of Sarah's son, and he is also the father of Hagar's son. But Hagar's son was not a part of God's will for the promise. Why did I use that illustration? It shows you that God already predestined what was going to happen between Abraham and Sarah. Even though Abraham and Sarah, they exercised their free will, they had a limited free will, they messed up, but God's will still trumped over them. So this is what I'm saying, my brother and sister. When it comes to a relationship, you was in God's mind before the foundation of the world. Right now, some of you brothers and sisters, you probably have been through several relationships, especially if you're up in age. Some of you brothers and sisters, you've never been married before, but you probably have been going through series of relationships. You could have called yourself going through long-term relationship, but for some reason, it did not jump on those 3 hurdles as far as being serious, committed, and in a covenant relationship. That's right, Sister Teresa. That's right, the Arabia. So that's why, my brother and sister, thank you again, Sister Teresa. Hagar's son and the Israelites, that's why they always clashing over there in the Middle East. They always clashing over the land, because both of them are saying Abraham, my father, which is the truth. But Hagar's son was of a bond servant. That's why, my brother and sister, when it comes to your free will, you can mess yourself up instead of going with God free will. That's why you have to exercise patience. And when we exercise patience, we're talking about a relationship. My brother and my sister, when it comes to a relationship, and the thing is, does God have, are you predestined for a spouse? If yes, my brother and sister, if you have a desire for a man and a woman, you are predestined for a spouse. Listen to me, my brother and sister. If you have a desire for a member of the opposite sex, you are predestined for a spouse. The question is, are you going to do it with your free will, or are you going to do it with God's will? If you do it with your will, you're going to mess up. I know, because I have been through a series of relationships because I was exercising my free will. That's why I kept messing up. Like some of you brothers and sisters, that's why you keep messing up, because you trying to go with your free will instead of, and you know what, my brother and sister, it took me a while to get to the point where it finally dawned on me, Tony, you need to ask God about this relationship thing. You thought that you could handle the relation. You thought that you had all the wisdom, the knowledge, the understanding, the discernment when it comes to choosing a woman. But my brother and sister, I failed. I failed several times when it came to a relationship. Why did I do it? Because I did not go to God and talk to him about helping me to find a woman that will follow me. I did that for many years. There are some men and women right now, my brother and sister, that God did not put together, even though they got a desire to be with one another. This is what you got. You got a saved person that know he or she want to be in a relationship with someone. And then you got unsaved people that desire to be in a relationship with one. Now, the thing about it is, if you are saved, you don't want to get in no bad relationship. You don't want to get in no unequal relationship. When a lost man and woman get together and be in a relationship, God didn't have nothing to do with that. He let them do their thing. But if you're saved, my brother and sister, and you were not saved on your own, the Lord saved you. So the flow said, I failed in this relationship thing. You know, if we honest, a lot of us have failed. And let me tell you this, my brother and sister, just because you failed in a relationship, that doesn't mean that you're a failure. Always remember that, my brother and sister, you were not a failure. Let me tell you this. Even those of you that have been through a divorce, some of you right now, you are in the middle of a divorce. There will be some people on the outside, they're looking at you and they say you are a failure, especially if you have been married more than one time. Anybody that try to make you feel bad, my brother and sister, they can't make you feel bad, because if they didn't fail in a relationship, which they probably have, they don't tell you, they have failed in other things when it comes to life. Don't let no man or no woman say that you're a failure, my brother and sister, when it comes to a relationship. The only thing what happened, you just got prodigal, my brother. You just got prodigal, my sister, and you went out there and you were trying to do things your own way. Now you got put in the pig pen, right? Now you come to your senses, and when you come to your sense, you say, it's time for me to go to God and let God do this thing for me. Because God, I don't know what a relationship look like. That's what you got to tell God, my brother. So you got to go to God and say, look, God, I don't know what a real relationship look like. I don't know how to maintain a relationship. You got to be open to God. Before you go to your family, before you go to your friends, before you go to social media, before you go ordering books and go to seminars and single retreats and all that kind of stuff, go to God first. If you go to God first, you don't have to end up in the pig pen. I understand the pig pen, my brother and sister, because I was a prodigal son. And I went out there and I had some wild living, just like the prodigal son in the Bible. I went out there and I wasted a whole bunch of time. I wasted mental energy. I wasted emotional energy. I wasted physical energy. I wasted financial energy. How you doing, Sister Greta? I wasted a whole bunch of things, my brother and sister. But God, you see, he predestined. Now, some people, let me go back to the divorce thing. Let me tell you that, my brother and sister, when God put the best example of God putting two humans together was Adam and Eve. That's the ultimate example. And you familiar with Boaz and Ruth, but the ultimate one is when he put Adam and Eve together. When he put Adam and Eve together, Adam and Eve, they was perfect spiritually, they was perfect physically too. Adam and Eve, they had a spiritual connection with God. God's spirit was in their spirit. And they were soulmates with one another. They were soulmates. So you got to understand that, my brother and sister. Adam and Eve, they were soulmates. They were not soul tied. They were soulmates. Now, some people right now, some of you brothers and sisters, you got married. And it did not work. Do not, I'm telling you right now, my brother and sister, do not let outside people condemn you. Outside people, they cannot condemn you because they got they need to deal with their lifestyle. Some of you brothers and sisters, you feel like instead of saying that when you went through a bad relationship, instead of you saying, okay, I failed the relationship. It's just like a test. Like when you was in school, you probably failed the test, but it didn't cause you to be a failure. You still graduated, right? So you got to understand, my brother and sister, when it comes to life and different things in life, you're going to fail sometime. You're going to have to file this thing called bankruptcy of life sometime. Not only bankruptcy when it comes to money, sometimes, my brother and sister, you got to file bankruptcy when it comes to a relationship. So when you fail in a relationship, you got to go to God and file for relationship bankruptcy. You got to go to God and say, look, I messed up. I messed up. How you doing, Sister Deborah Scott? You got to go to God and say, look, God, I'm filing a relationship bankruptcy. I can't do it no more. I need help. That's what you got to do. So the folks I made is 69 on the test. And we all have failed. Majority of, if we're honest, we all have failed when it came to relationship. But those of you that listen, those of you that have been divorced, listen to your brother Tony. You're not a failure. You failed in that marriage. Now, some people say, well, I've been married more than one time. Okay, you were married more than one time. You were just married, but you failed. You failed in that relationship. There are a lot of people that have been dating people for 20, 30 years, and they still failing, but they ain't even got married. You're not a failure. And then when somebody comes to you and say, what's your problem? Why you can't hold on to no relationship? The reason why you can't hold on to no relationship, my brother and sister, because most of the time, listen to me carefully. If you are a son or daughter of God, God did not want you to be in that unequally yoked relationship. He didn't want you to do it. You got yourself in the pig pen. You, my brother, you, my sister, you've been going around playing with those dogs that out there that needed a bath. That's why you got fleas. That's why you got fleas, my brother, sister, because you out there. Some of you, brother, you will mess with these female canines. Some of you sister, you will mess with these male canines. You will look at as a piece of meat. Temporary piece of meat. So you're not, how you doing, Sister Danielle? You're not a failure. Never feel down, my brother and sister. Hold your head up if you have failed in a marriage or any type of relationship. You got to understand that majority of the time that person was not for you. You were predestined for another person, the right person. Now, some of you brothers and sisters that are saved, you're dating someone right now that's not saved. That person is not supposed to be a part of your life. I'm telling you that tonight. If you're not married and you're talking to someone and you're saved, take your emotions out of it. You got to take your emotion out of it. If you are saved, you are a son or daughter of God. So why are you dealing with a worldly person? You come from a royal priesthood. You come from royal priesthood. You want me to read it to you? I'm going to show you that you royal. Listen to this in 1 Peter 2:9. 1 Peter 2:9. 1 Peter 2:9. It says, you are a chosen people. Now listen to this. You are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, God's special possession, that you may declare the praise of him that have called you out of darkness into light. It is undeniable. Listen, it is undeniable, my brother and sister, that God had chosen those who believe in Jesus, his son. So you are from royalty, my brother and sister. You got royal blood in you. You got Jesus' blood. You got Jesus' precious blood. Now, why would you want to go throw some pearls out in front of some pigs? What would a pig do? A pig would trample over them, or swine. Some of you brothers and sisters, you don't realize who you are. Once you realize who you are, you will, if you are not married to that person, you will cut that relationship off tonight because you waste your time. Why would you want to take a worldly person to go? Excuse me. Have y'all noticed this? Like on a physical level, if you like someone, more than likely you're going to introduce that person to your circle, right? You're going to introduce that person to your family. That's your closest circle, your family, then your friends, right? That's your little circle, right? So if you are a child of God, why would you want to take an unbeliever to God? How you think God look at that? You going to God and say, God, help me to make this relationship work. And this is an unbeliever. God told you before you got into a relationship with that person, don't get in a relationship with no unequally yoked person. God warned you, he warned me. Because you see, if you are getting involved with someone that's unequally yoked or not a son of God, you going to compromise. I compromise too. I'm no exception to the rule. You're going to compromise because you want to make it work. And you think on a subconscious level that you can change that person. You got to understand it, my brother and sister, as of tonight, you got to understand you can't change a grown man and you can't change a grown woman. You're not a failure. As a matter of fact, you are a success. But you failed this test. But you can get up. God predestinate you, my brother and sister, for someone that he got for you. You got to understand that. If you have a desire for a man or a woman, there's nothing wrong with that. But it got to be for something more than sex or physical intimacy. It got to be for something. It got to be for God's glory. When you have desire to be with someone, God wants you to be with a woman, brother or sister. God wants you to be with a man that he bring you all together. You were predestined to be together. Now, some people want to say this. Okay, tell me this, Tony. If two Christians get together, I'm trying to understand it. If two Christians get together and they go their separate ways, are you saying that I'm confused? They supposed to be predestined, right, Tony? If God bring two Christians together, they supposed to be predestined. Let me tell you this. God can cause the man to find the right woman. God could cause the woman to be available for the right man. But when God placed you all together, my brother and sister, you got to understand that you still got a free will. And God wants you to look at that person as a person, as someone that's not perfect. That's another thing what causes Christian men and women to part ways, because they don't understand that they are both imperfect. They need to understand that they need to love one another unconditionally. They need to understand that they're going to have storms in a relationship as well as sunny days. They got to understand that a relationship, a long-term relationship, is not a fantasy. It's real. And you have to go into a relationship as a mature Christian. Thank you, Sister Danielle. You got to go in there as a mature Christian. If you don't go in there as a mature Christian, you going in there for a fantasy. That stuff, I always say that stuff that you see on TV and the records that you're listening to, that's for entertaining purposes only. When you understand that you are God's son or daughter, you're going to want to please God first. If you please God, my brother and sister, you got to understand that it's about pleasing God first. So the person that God calls you to be in a relationship with, you still got to please God first and that person. And you got to keep God in a relationship. If you in a relationship with God, brother and sister, and your mate is, and that person that you're dating is not, it's not going to work. Even my brother and sister, if you saved and your mate is not saved, it's not going to work. So I'm telling you this, my brother and sister, don't even pray to God to cause you and an unbeliever to be together. He's not gonna do nothing. That's right, Brother Mola. He's not gonna do nothing. How you think that look, my brother and sister? You get on your knee praying to God, and you dealing with a worldly man, a woman, a son, or daughter of the devil, and you think God gonna listen to you bring a son or the daughter of the devil? They're just like the Hatfields and the McCoy. You all remember that group, that family up there in Kentucky and Virginia. You all have heard of the Hatfields and McCoy, right? That's what type of relationship you all are being. You'll be clashing for years and years and years because the Hatfield and McCoy, they didn't get along. Once upon a time, they did at the beginning. Like my brother and sister, if you with a person at the beginning relationship, everybody wear masks. You got to understand that everybody wear a mask. Everybody on his or her best behavior at the beginning of the relationship. That's another thing we got to understand. Everybody be at their best behavior, even you, brother, and you, sister. Because when I was out there in the world, I was on my best behavior. I wore a mask, and it wasn't even Halloween, but I wore a mask. And what happened? You're going to get comfortable with that person. That person going to get comfortable with you, and that mask going to come off. What that mean? That mean that you're going to start learning more about the person's character. So Teresa said he should be leading you to God. If he ain't following God, wrong far as wrong. That's right. That's right, sister. You have to run just like Forrest. So my brother and sister, listen. You are predestined to be with a person if you have desire for a member of the opposite sex. Your desire, I'm not talking, you need more than sex. You need more than just thinking about just getting off. You have to look at that person and say, okay, I'm following God, and I want this person and me to walk together with God in our relationship. I want to be an example to the world, like how Christ and the church is an example to us. You, brother, you, sister, you the only light that some people will see. They can see you being single, but when you together, my brother and sister, and the Lord is working through your relationship, that's the best example that the world can see. You see, it's better to let your light shine before man so that God will get the glory. And you see, they have this thing called the power couple, right? The world look at power couple as, how you doing, 888 here and now. The world look at a power couple, and I ain't got to bring up no name. Somebody gonna come into what I'm about to describe. A certain couple is about to come to your mind. A couple that precede to have power. A couple that appears to be popular. A couple that appears to have a lot of money. And some couples come to y'all mind now, right? A couple that's popular, couples that popular, couples that got power, couples that got money, and couples that look good together. And the world said that's a power couple. That's a power couple for the small God, small G-O-D, because Satan is the God of this world. That's the world standard of a power couple. Look at Teresa got Jada and Will down there. I didn't say it, Teresa said it. But anyway, But a power couple, let me tell you what a real power couple is, my brother and sister. A real power couple is a man and a woman that has God in their relationship. That's true power. Because a man and woman, when a man and a woman have God in their relationship, they have everything. They have everything. Because God owns everything. So the power couple that got the world good, that's Satan can give them stuff. Don't you all know that Satan can give his sons and daughters something? So don't go, my brother and sister, don't strive to be like those people that you see on TV. Don't strive to be like that because they know they're in front of cameras. They know it. They know they have PR people. They got people that tell them how to behave in public. God don't tell them. They have PR people that get paid to do it. You ain't got to go get no PR person to about outside, my brother and sister, how you look. You got God. Because God's son Jesus gonna shine from inside out. And the world will see that you got light. The world see that the power couple got material gain, that they can lose like that. But if you're a power couple and you got God in it, you don't lose your light. Your light continue to shine brighter and brighter. My brother and sister, when God put you all together, people could look at you and say, I'd rather have what they have than what these other people have. I want God in our relationship so I could represent God relationship with the church. If you want to look at someone, my brother and sister, say, okay, I want what they got. Spiritual, not material. It ain't nothing wrong with material, but you want spiritual. And that's why a lot of men and women, they fail, my brother and sister, because they don't understand that they predestined. Now, I'm telling you this time, my brother and sister, if you have a desire for someone, you predestined to be with someone. God knows the person that he wants you to be with. Now, some of you may be saying, well, I'd be glad when God go ahead and predestine the person to come into my life, because I've been waiting for a while. Be patient. Well, Tony, I'm 40, I'm 50, I'm 60. Oh, if it's a woman, oh, Tony, I want a child. Tony, my time running out. I want a child now. He need to come on right now. Still be patient. How you know God wants you to have a child? But he still could want you to be with a man. Because you still an incubator, sister. What do I mean? If you can't have a child, that man got a purpose, and whatever he got, he could give it to you, and he could give you something, and you could bring life to what that man have. All the time, you might not meant to have a child. Every woman is not meant to have a child. Some do, some don't. It's up to God. As a matter of fact, my brother and sister, God is the one that opened up the womb, not your doctor. If you go to your doctor and he give you a procedure or anything, that's not no guarantee that you're going to have a child. Only God opened up the womb, sister. When you look at the Bible, those of you that want a child right now, there's this lady that's in the Bible. She wanted a child so bad, and that was Samuel's mother. Did she go to get artificial? Did she go to get sperm? Did she go to a sperm bank? Did she go sleeping with random man because she had to see when she was going to ovulate and stuff? Did she have to do that? No. She prayed to God. And God heard her. God opened up her womb. God, sister, he opens up the womb. Look at Janet Jackson. Janet was 50 years old when she had her first child. 50. And let's look at Sarah. Sarah, Abraham's wife, older than that. Sarah was 90. I know some of you all don't want to get 90, but Sarah was about 90 years old before she had Isaac, which means Abraham about 100. So let patience have its perfect work. God predestined you, my brother and sister, and I'm going to always use this illustration because it applies to me too. When I was out there in the world, before I got married to her, I was walking in the wilderness like the Israelite. And you all have heard me say that before. I was like in that wilderness, like the Israelites. They was walking in the wilderness for 40 years, and they could have been to the promised land in 11 days. When I was out there in the world, I was just going in a circle. I was going to that woman, that woman, that woman, that woman. I was just going in a circle. And then when a light bulb went off, and I knew I had to do it God's way, then he opened me up to the promised land. The promised land. Let me tell you this, my brother and sister. Some of the ladies that let me be very clear. I need to be very clear. There were some women that I seen, but I wasn't dating them. Do you follow what I'm saying? I wasn't dating them. What do I mean by dating? I mean it was quote unquote supposed to be exclusive. It was supposed to be exclusive. That's what I mean. Exclusive for years. But I did not get married, what I did was wrong. And I have been married before. Some of you all know that I have been married before. But when I got married before, I'm not a failure. I failed a test. And there's not one person, and that's why I'm telling you, my brother and sister, I made a decision and I had to learn the hard way. When I did it God's way, he brought everything around because God had a person handpicked for me. Like he will have a person handpicked for you, my brother and sister, when you decide to delight in him, and he will give you the desires of your heart. God always will give you the desires of your heart, but he want to be your first love. God requests and require you to be his first love. After God is your first love, if you have desire, he's going to bring that right person to you. And when God brings that right person to you, my brother, because that person is predestined to be in your life, you don't go to God specifying on a piece of paper how you want him or her to look, how much money you want him or her to have, and all that superficial stuff. When God brings the right person in life, that man going to be together, sister. Brother, that woman going to be together, and they're going to bring assets to the relationship. When I say assets, I mean character first. They're going to be godly men or godly women. That's the major asset. And then God going to bring other things into the equation. Like Sister Teresa, she did mention the thing about farm. You're going to have something common with the F family. You're going to have something common with the occupation, because you got to work. Those bills got to be paid. And when it comes to religion, you are going to believe in the same Jesus Christ. You're going to worship together. You're going to know how to do when it comes to money. You don't have a whole bunch of problems when it comes to money. And then you're going to have a good sex life. Because God is in the middle of the relationship. So are you predestined for a spouse? If you have a desire, yes, you are. You are predestined in the mind of God before the world began, my brother. And before the world began, my sister. You are not a failure. You failed a test or test. So as of tonight at the dinner table, if you are entertaining someone that's not a Christian, stop it. He or she could be your friend, but as far as a relationship, he or she is not a part of your predestination. Now, if you messed up and got married, my brother, or married, my sister, you got yourself in a situation. Only thing you could pray to God for, if you made a mistake and married an unbeliever, only thing you could pray to God to give you peace. You're gonna pray to God and say, God, make him or her do me right. God is not gonna do it, because you made a conscious decision. You exercise your will and you decide to marry that man or woman with your free will. So you can't blame nobody, brother. You can't blame nobody, sister. So as of tonight, my brother, sister, if you're married and you chose to get married, you can't blame that man or woman. You got to blame. Look in the mirror. Look in the closet mirror and blame yourself. Kick your own self in the rear end. You did. You got to be accountable, my brother. You got to be accountable, my sister. God only wants you to be with a Christian. If you are a Christian, God wants you with a Christian. It's no compromising on that. Because if you don't, you're going to compromise with them. You're going to try to force it to work. And you're not going to be yourself. You see, when God brings two Christians together that are predestined, your relationship is going to flow, my brother and sister. Even if you have some disagreement, your relationships are going to flow. You know what I know? Because I have and I am experiencing that right now. The relationship flows. Even though sometimes that young lady and I, we have some disagreement every now and then. We're not perfect. I'm a long way from there. She's a long way, but our relationship flows. As a matter of fact, to my recollection, she's the only one, my brother and sister, and I'm not putting her on no high horse or nothing. Out of the women that I have had a relationship with for a period of time, she's the only one that I done had majority of the time peace of mind. I mean, peace that hard to understand unless you see it. I had a kind of peace in this relationship now, my brother and sister, whereas if I leave and come back, I don't have to sit in my car and see her car out there and say, I wonder what's going to happen when I walk in the house. I don't have to do that. I don't have to do that. She doesn't have to do that. Most of the time when I come in, she be smiling. She be smiling most time. She even smile if I go to the bedroom right now. She sleep probably with a smile on her face. Her mind might be open, but she's smiling. And you see, brother, that's what you want. You want your woman to smile from the heart first, and then it'll come on her face. And vice versa, sister. You want that man heart to smile, and it'll come on his face. When you have a peaceful relationship that only comes from if you predestinated and God chooses for you and that man to be together, or you and that woman to be together, God got to do the matchmaking. Your brother, your parents and all that kind of stuff, God could work through them to bring a Christian to you. Let God do it. Brother and sister, if you're a Christian, don't let your people introduce you to a non-Christian because of what he or she has done. Even if your friend, don't let them introduce you to a non-Christian or your workmates and all that social media, the dating sites and stuff. Don't do it. If they cannot introduce you to a Christian, and after being a Christian, do you have something in common? Family, occupation, religion, money, and sex? What about that person's credit report? Do they have a criminal record? And do they have health issues? You got to know that all this stuff you got to discuss. You don't want to get in a long-term relationship, even if it's a Christian, and you see some stuff. But everybody, you're not going to get nobody 100% complete, brother and sister. You're not going to do that. So with that said, my brother, with that said, I hope that you all got something out of it. If you have a desire to be in a relationship, you were predestined because you have desire for a member of the opposite sex. You have desire. So if you have desire, you desire to do it God's way, right? If you desire to do it God's way is being serious, committed, and in a covenant relationship. That's God's way, my brother and sister. Brother and sister, thank you so much for being at the dinner table tonight. Thank you so much. Brother and sister, if you're on the book, you can share, make comments, and let your other family members know and your friends. Those of you that are on the tube, if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button, and make your comments and share. That's all you have to do. I hope that you all enjoyed the dinner table tonight, being here. I enjoyed being with you, family and friends. Go ahead and take your plate with your carry-out plate. I got the table. I'm going to clean up for you. So you all have a good night. I love you, brother. I love you, sister. You all have a good upcoming week. Lord will, that is, okay? Peace out.